Well, that was a movie.
Hello and welcome back to First Thoughts. I'm Simon, this is Justin, and today we're giving our first thoughts on The Woman in the Yard, which is a new horror film by the director of Orphan and also Nonstop, I just found out. Kwame Collet-Serra?
Yeah, probably.
He's a guy. He's done stuff. And it was written by Stam Stefanik, starring a bunch of people, Danielle Deadwyler, Akwu. You want to read the cast? You want to do this?
Not
any better.
Yeah, no. Sorry.
Peyton Jackson. I got that one.
Yeah.
Estella Kahi and Russell Hornsby. So
sorry about those.
got a little bit better as it went. But anyway, if you didn't see the trailer or anything, it was like this. It looks like on the surface, when you saw the first trailer, it looks like this really indie artsy kind of horror movie, and then you realize, oh, it was done by Blumhouse, and my expectations all of a sudden completely changed. But I still had somewhat high expectations for it. You know, I'm a sucker for indie and art house films in general, but especially when it comes to horror, and immediately you can tell this is going to be some sort of allegorical horror, at least you would guess, based on the context that it is that. And yeah, I think well, it had the worst crowd.
Yeah.
The worst crowd we've had in a long time. Wouldn't shut up.
Gosh.
Laughing at everything that isn't funny.
You'd think we'd sell a comedy.
Openly stating this sucks or that didn't make sense when it's in the middle of like this really cool moment that's like this big revelation, and they're like, nah, we're doing too much. I'm like, shut the fuck up. I liked it. How did you feel? Did you like it?
I also liked it. Now, I did like it a bit more going into the ending, but I kind of like how it wrapped up. There was a little bit that got a little shaky for me, but I think I just need to rewatch it. Now going in with this other information, there's a lot of shows I've seen like that where there's a lot of very obvious, but you don't catch them because you don't know the mystery ahead of time, clues about some big reveal going on throughout like a season of a show, Mr. Robot, if you've ever seen it. And then on the second watch, once you've seen the big reveal at the end of the season, you go and you catch everything.
Yeah.
I very much feel like I'm going to get that with the second watch on this movie.
Yeah, I think so too, because it was interesting for me where, like, you know, I'm already in that mindset going into this because I'm figuring we're going to get there. And then there's things that are like, you think you're putting all the pieces together because there's some really obvious clues.
Right.
And even some subtle ones that I'm proud that I picked up on, but then it still goes beyond that and you're like, oh, I didn't know we were going here, because it just, once you figure out some stuff, you kind of like, and I figured it out, but then it keeps adding to that and you're like, I wasn't expecting there to be that many layers.
Right.
So I agree that maybe they did do too much in a way. It got bogged down a little bit near the end, I do agree. Also near the beginning, I was thinking, before I knew how in-depth it was gonna go, I was like, this should have been a short film. We're dragging it out. And I disagree with that now, but there were moments early on in the movie where I was like, we're taking way too long to get to the point. So pacing was a bit of an issue. I think the dialogue at times was a bit of an issue, especially when you get like kid actors in there. There's iffy stuff there, but overall I thought the imagery was fantastic. I really enjoyed the idea of it. It's a kind of movie that I've seen done a lot, and I've seen it done better. I've seen it done worse. This isn't the best allegorical kind of horror movie like this I've ever seen, but it was a good one, and I enjoyed it.
I guess, not being a horror fan my whole life, I guess I haven't seen too many allegorical horrors, but I've seen some similar stories, and yeah, I agree with you. Certain elements of this story I had pegged from the very beginning.
Right.
One of them I was like, dang, why did I not... Oh, okay. Wow, they getting...
Were you speeding or did you run a stop sign? What'd you do there, buddy?
Maybe they crossed over crazily? I don't know.
It didn't look like it. Your entertainment for the evening. Cops.
One element came up later. I very much thought, why didn't I consider that as one of my possibilities? That super obvious there.
Yeah, I'm so excited to talk about spoilers.
Then the ending, I didn't really see that coming. It made a lot of sense once it all finally wrapped up, but I didn't catch that.
Yeah, it definitely. So yes, I would say the first 80% of the movie, I'm like, I either, yep, saw that coming, or
Yep.
went, yeah, makes sense. And then that last 20%, I would say about half of it, I was like, huh? What? And I love that. I love being fooled, because it's, when you watch this many movies, it's rare because you've seen everything. And so when somebody does something creative that like you didn't see coming, it's very impressive, as long as they actually explain what's going on, black bag. And so it was, to me, it was very interesting, and I really liked the idea. Like I was saying, the execution wasn't always perfect. I think for the most part the visuals were fantastic, but there was a couple times I was like, and there was a couple times I was just like, I don't know, the acting or writing or whatever. For the most part, the acting was pretty good. I actually really liked Tay, the actor who played Tay, the one kid, Taylor, who was played by Peyton Jackson.
Yes.
He really reminded me of a young Michael B. Jordan, and I don't know if he's gonna become famous, but I thought he was good. Also, apparently fucking hilarious, according to like women behind us.
Everything he did was a stitch, according to our crowd. Everything.
I don't know why, but I thought he had a lot of potential. So I would be looking at him to maybe, if he continues, you never know with child actors, they could just stop. But I think he was really good. So overall, I mean, the cast was very good. And this director has been around longer than I realized. I mean, he did Orphan back in 2009-ish or whenever that was.
I do remember seeing trailers for that one.
Yeah, never watched it, but not my kind of horror movie, the little girl kind of, not my thing. But
Until the doll one later this year. Megan 3, 2? I don't know.
Megan 2. Yeah, not interested really, but we'll watch it.
Well,
but
let me know, because I gotta watch one if we do.
I don't think you have to.
That's fair.
Really don't. But anyway, no, yeah, I enjoyed it. And I think, like I said, I've definitely seen, like, not that this is a one-to-one correlation, but like a movie like Night House. When I walked out of that movie, not only was I was practically in tears still from how effective that movie was told dramatically, but also like you kind of like get like skeeved out by the horror. There was genuine jump scares in Night House that got me. This movie, it definitely made me feel like on edge. It was creepy.
This had the most tension of a movie we've seen for a while. I never think most of them like what I imagine real horror to be.
Sure.
But this was probably the closest. Yeah,
it was a different kind of horror, though, that I did enjoy, and I enjoyed the, like I said, the drama behind it, like the characters and their story, but like I still wouldn't put it in the same category as The Night House. To me, that movie, I was just like, I walked out going like, wow, best horror movie I've seen in a decade. This movie, I was like, that was good. But yeah, so I wouldn't give it, like, I think I gave Night House like 8.5. I would give this, I think I'm okay. I think I'd give it a 7. I think I would.
I'm alright with that. I feel like I gave something else a 6 recently, and this is better than
definitely
that.
Yeah.
So
yeah, there was when it started, because it starts really well, I was like, yep, this is a 7.5. Then, like I said, it kind of hits that lull, and I was like, well, I'm still enjoying it, I guess, but it's a 6. And then the ending boosted it back up.
Yeah, I was a little worried it wasn't gonna stick it, but that was pretty clever. I've seen personal stuff like that in films, but not quite this style. That was very interesting.
What is it, by the way, though, in these horror movies recently, because we talked about it in The Substance, but like referencing The Shining every chance we can get. They reference The Shining in this too, and I was like, why? Why do we keep doing that? But The Shining's a good movie. But,
it's a classic. It's a recognizable reference.
Sure. All right.
I'd say one thing I like about this movie, you tend to know how movies are gonna go. You've seen a lot more than me, so you get this more than me. But like certain points where a movie wants to create tension, you're like, you're not really gonna do this. You're not. The very ending, when that scene started, I was like, no, this isn't happening. Come on, let's be real. As that scene went on, I started thinking maybe, just maybe, just maybe, it was actually gonna happen. I couldn't. It just seemed like such a wild way to end the movie. I couldn't think it would end that way, but I will say that they got me a little bit.
That part, actually, I was comparing directly to, because there's a 1-to-1 correlation in The Night House, which I just brought up, which is, to me, when I talk about allegorical horror, Night House is like the one, which I know it's a bit of an unpopular opinion. I know you don't really know.
Not at all. Never
But
heard of it.
To me, it is, and a lot of people, when you talk about allegorical horror, you'll bring up Hereditary or Babadook or something like that. I do love those movies, but to me, Night House is like flawless to me. I love that movie, and their scene that was similar, I do like better, I'll admit, but I was like, this is reminding me of something good, so that's a good sign. You know. But yeah, this movie, I want to get into spoilers as soon as possible here, so we're going to. So I do recommend it if you're into allegorical horror movies, if you're into indie art house. I know this is Blumhouse, but Blumhouse is trying to branch out, it seems. And I don't know if they're just like, well, indie art house is in, as, you know, somebody slightly out of touch, because this is like 5 years ago information they're working on. Like, oh, everybody loves indie art house movies, do that. So I don't know what's with Blumhouse, but like even, you know, Wolfman, which wasn't good, but it started out really trying to be an art house horror movie.
Yeah.
And so for the first 5 minutes, I was like, is this the Wolfman? Are we doing Wolfman again? But no, it stuck with it, and it, like you said, stuck the landing's the best way to do it, because at a certain point, it's flipping around in the air, and you're like, I don't know how this is going to land, and then it did. So props to Blumhouse. They're branching out. They're figuring out how to actually make good movies instead of just movies that make them money. So good for them. Although this movie probably will not make them money, unfortunately.
Hey, it had a slightly pretty good crowd for a Thursday
It had a good
night
crowd.
premiere.
Also, I bet this movie cost like no money.
Yeah, there we go.
So good on ya. But anyway, like we said, 7-ish, somewhere around there. Go watch it if that sounds like something you'd be into, then it definitely is. I really enjoyed it. So we're getting into spoilers. If you don't want anything spoiled, click away, go watch it, and then come back and we can talk about it then. Thanks, guys. Bye.
Bye.
So I was staring at the light the whole time instead of the camera. I just realized so during the review, I'm just gonna be like,
I might have been a little bit. It draws you to it.
Yeah. So, yeah, obviously, like we said, this is an allegorical horror movie.
Right.
It goes the same way a lot of these go. It's, you know, the horror thing, the monster, if you will, in this, it's a lady, not really a monster, but she's still a villain, is, you know, a form of depression in a way. It's also more literally the alternate version that this mother becomes due to her depression. It's kind of a mixture of both, I will say, because there's a little bit of mumbo jumbo in there, like, you prayed to me, and so you're like, is this a demon? The fuck's going on?
Beelzebub?
I'm not entirely sure, but like, yeah, I think to me my favorite moment in the imagery was at a certain point they're hiding in the attic, where they throw a flashlight, which just keeps spinning and spinning forever. If we were playing Spin the Bottle, everybody would have left out of boredom. But at a certain point, the mother disappears and is replaced by the woman, which, by the way, I just was so confused the whole time when I was expecting her to be played by the same actress. And then when she took off her veil the first time, I was like, that's not the same person. Why isn't it? But anyway, then you see the shadow behind her is the real mom. And so to me, what immediately that spoke to me through the imagery was, so like, if you will, the lady was her shadow self, her worst self that comes out when she's in that bad place.
Right.
Now it's gotten so bad that she is more often this version, and so her real self, she's that so rarely, she's become the shadow self, so it's reversed. And that was really cool imagery to me. I love that idea.
Definitely them swapping back and forth. Because it seemed like she had been that way, I guess, since the accident. She just, her depression had really taken over. I remember the son saying, you know, I know she hasn't been like herself in a while.
Yeah, that too. He doesn't say
mom hasn't been mom in a while.
Yeah.
It just very much seems like that's because it starts the movie with her watching the video of her and her husband in bed together, talking about the house that they're building up together, and you know, he had a dream that they finished.
They were done. Yeah. And there was all those flowers that she likes. What are those called?
Petunias?
Irises, you Goo Goo Dolls. Yeah, no, so I that whole thing, and yes, that's where it got convoluted and lost a lot of the audience.
Yeah, no, they were dropping like flies during that.
That's when I was like perking up, because that's when it got interesting to me, because that's when I was like, where are we going with this?
Yeah, at that point, I had not caught on that it was exactly her, and that it was her depression.
Right.
So I just, at first I just thought like the person's trying to take over, replace her for some reason. What's the connection? Very confusing. Trying to come up with a bunch of theories about the woman. I was off track about
the woman
her.
was depression to me from the first scene. I think from the trailer I knew it was depression.
Yeah, I did not catch that from the trailer.
Well, that's pretty standard allegorical horror shit, so I feel like...
I figured it was related to her. Like,
Yeah.
I immediately knew from like the second I see her in bed waking up with the cast and the rewatching the home video,
Yeah.
I immediately knew there was a car accident.
Yeah.
I immediately knew she caused it. I, for some reason, did not think she was driving, but I immediately knew she caused it.
That was actually the part I figured out, was that she was driving because her right leg was broken. And so if she was in the passenger seat and he got the brunt of the damage, why would her right leg be hurt if she was on the right side of the car? So I was sitting there going, at first, actually, I, for some reason, reversed it in my head and was like, left, that's a good detail. And then I realized it's her right leg, and I was like, that doesn't make any sense. And then I was like, wait. Or does it? Because I was starting to respect this movie because the attention to detail was good. So I was like, that means something, that it's her right leg. And so what else could that mean but she was on the other side of the car?
See, I wasn't sure about that with the right leg. I figured maybe something could have happened to the side of the car because we hadn't seen the car wreck yet.
Right.
So I wasn't 100%
Except for
sure.
the trailer.
I don't know.
Which I didn't put together, though, to be fair.
Yeah,
when
no,
I saw the car in the trailer, I didn't think about it.
Yeah, I did forget about that in the trailer, but I did grasp some of that role immediately. I just did not quite get the woman.
Yeah, because even when you see the car in the movie and the right side of the car is smashed up, that didn't mean anything to me when they showed it. I was just like, yeah, the car is smashed up.
Yeah.
And then I separately from that was like doing my own logic. For some reason, that was that should have been a dead giveaway, and it didn't mean anything to me.
Yeah, I don't know. I think I was thinking like maybe they had a fight, or I was thinking maybe she pulled the wheel at some point.
Yeah, I thought about that at a certain point too, which reminded me of that happened in Smile 2. So I was like, is this a Smile 2 situation? And then I thought the drugs were coming in at a certain point, but then it was just alcohol and depression because, the lady represents depression and or suicide, and so she's driving and she sees, in essence, suicide in her rearview mirror, meaning she's contemplating crashing on purpose.
Yeah. And
then because of that, she accidentally crashes. So it's ironic that she's like, should I crash on purpose? Shit, I'm crashing.
You gotta watch out on these one-lane roads at nights when it's raining.
Yeah, I love that imagery. And so now getting to the big thing that my theory is. So I guess I need some context before I really get into it. So we mentioned there's the Shining reference.
Right.
So the daughter keeps writing red backwards. They don't go as far as to write red rum, but they keep writing red with a backwards R, which is obviously the Shining. And then when they are out at the movies, there's like a movie called like The Mirror Has Two, and it cuts off the last word. It was like two sides or something. I couldn't really catch it.
Yeah.
But then one of the R's is reversed in mirror. And so then like you're like, all right, so not only is it a reference to The Shining, but it's going to mean something. Like we're saying this for a reason. And then as it goes, like it's obviously the duality of these two people, once again, Night House. And so we then see that like we've got an alternate reality version of her, as opposed, like, because we see that one scene where she stabs her in the mirror and then she stabbed a pillow and you're like, what is going on?
Yeah, she stabbed the daughter.
Yeah, it's like her worst side, or her worst ideas, her worst possibility being shown on display there. But then eventually she, near the end of the movie, when it's really at its most crazy and confusing and convoluted, she goes through this gun safe, and it has like a Narnia passageway through a mirror into her bedroom, where her husband is going like, I had a dream. And it's like, this is all you know how to say. But then they're cuddling and they're doing their conversation, but then she realizes, oh, his tattoo is backwards, which at first was lost on me because I was trying to read the tattoo going, what the fuck does that say?
I could not understand. I'm like, a military tattoo? Okay, what is this? Is this like some interesting symbol here?
Because I was like, you showed the tattoo for a reason, so I'm trying to understand what the tattoo is.
Did not catch it was backwards.
But then she looks up and like there's a picture or a poster on the wall that's backwards. She's like, oh, okay, now I get it. And so she's realizing, oh, this isn't real. This is the alternate version, because the alternate version isn't entirely bad. It's the opposite of whatever reality is. So sometimes the mirror reality is actually good to an extent. So the mirror reality here is that he didn't die. The mirror reality also is, though, that he attacks her because he's evil. So there was that convoluted thing. But now we go to the end of the movie where she's in the shed and she's getting ready to kill herself. And then she randomly doesn't. And I went, that's a cop-out. I hate that. Because in Night House, when they don't kill themselves, there's a valid reason that I actually really like. So I'm there tears because the way they represent, like, she views herself as the villain. That's what the suicidal and depressed people do. So life is better without me. These kids would succeed in life without me. Here, my daughter graduated college, has a boyfriend. All this great success without me. This is so much better. I'm gonna kill myself because it will be better without me. I'm going to take out the sad part of the story, which is me.
Right.
Great fucking awesome writing there. And then she just doesn't kill herself. The kids come back, the dog's alive. What the fuck is going on? Then we see her painting. Oh, she started painting again. Who's it signed by? Backwards Ramona. She did kill herself. That's why when you see her in the house, half of her face is blown off because she shot herself. And everything that we thought we knew is reversed now. The dog's alive. She's alive. Yada, yada, yada. Great fucking ending that went over everybody in that theater's heads. And so fuck all of you. This movie was good. You missed it. This movie's fucking awesome.
You know, that's definitely going to go over a ton of people's heads.
Yeah.
Because, like, I totally get where you're coming from. Honestly, at the end, I thought she just wrote her name backwards. It just, I was like, oh, okay, yeah, no. It's like, they're not going to end a movie where she kills herself. This is the ending. She goes back, the kids come back, the dog comes back, she gets back to painting, and she signs her name backwards as a little mirror woman.
Yeah.
You know, I like yours better.
I should say there is a chance though that she actually didn't kill herself, but did shoot herself. Because if you notice how she's got the gun lined up, it's like, you ain't gonna kill yourself shooting at that angle. It was like, it's gonna go like that. And then when you see her, it's not a death blow. It's, oh, you fucked up the side of your head, but you didn't kill yourself. So I think there is a chance she didn't die, but she definitely intended to. Either way, though, much better than, I'm gonna kill myself. No, I'm not. Happy ending, dog's alive.
See, they threw in that, if your exact theory is right, they threw in that damn, the golf club swing, throw us all off.
Yeah.
Because that definitely clocked her in the head, or we're meant to believe it clocked her in the head.
Yeah.
Because right after that, you see
fucking up your face like that from a golf club. She blew off part of her head.
Yeah, no, I guess.
And something that actually helped confirm the idea was the guys behind us, as we were walking out, they were confused by the ending and like, well, what the fuck was that about? And the one guy was like, well, the house was all nice now. And it's like, because they finished the house in the mirror world. Thanks, old gay couple? Maybe? I don't know if you're a couple or not. Maybe, I'm assuming. Could just be two dudes at the movies.
Well, those two dudes? I didn't even catch that.
Yes. Anyway, thanks, guys. Sorry if I assumed your sexuality, but you helped me crack the case a little bit there, even though you didn't know you were helping me crack the case. Because I walked up to them, oh, these guys are smart. They know. And so I started talking, and I could tell. They're like, what? I'm like, never mind. Have a good day. Because their confusion helped me answer the questions. Oh, that's awesome. That's why this movie is good. Was that ending was phenomenal.
You know what? So I didn't catch the house was cleaner, but the dog coming back felt weird because clearly the dog was meant to be dead.
Dead.
Yeah.
In the ground.
The kids coming back immediately was a little odd, but fine kids.
It just seemed like bad writing at first.
Yeah, that's totally the cliche in all the shows.
Even the dog coming back seemed like bad writing. You're just like, ugh.
If there was if the painting wasn't her face, if it was something else besides the signature that I could have understood immediately meant mirror world, I would have gotten it better. But like,
Yeah.
it just felt like one of those cliche nods at the end. Oh, we went through something. Here's my little remembrance of the something we went through.
And I'll be honest,
I did like that.
I thought that until I would have thought that if not for all the other outlying clues, because that was my first thought. I was like, haha, cute, and then I went, oh fuck, wait, no. It was that fast. You probably heard me. I was like,
no. I heard your surprise. I didn't quite grasp it, but I was like, okay, he's got something here. Simon's cooking.
It was just like, it wasn't even like two noises. It was just on the reaction
And he stood up and,
scale and I was just like, well, first I turned around immediately to see the annoying people right behind us.
Yeah.
But they all avoided eye contact. I was like, fuck all of you. And then I turned to see the guys that I felt sorry for, and then that's when I heard them say what they said. And I was like, and I tried to talk to them, but it was too loud, so I was like, hold on. And I had to sprint around to come talk to them. And then I saw my old coworker, and then I was like, oh, did you like the movie? No. And I was like, I bet I could make you like it, but we don't have enough time to have this 20-minute conversation that we just now had.
Yeah, I think the immediate fan reaction sounded to be great for this one. This was going to be one of those critics like it, fans don't disparaging scores on Rotten Tomatoes things.
Yeah, absolutely, because it's not only because of how confusing it is, but because of the audience it's going to accidentally present itself to based on the fact that it's Blumhouse. Because people don't think Blumhouse means art house horror movies. Even if the trailer is telling you that, which the first trailer especially did,
right?
You're gonna then see Blumhouse pop up and immediately be like, oh, well, it's Blumhouse. I'm gonna Wolfman or Megan or something stupid. That's what Blumhouse means. Something stupid.
Yeah.
What was the fucking AI movie that came out last year?
Oh, damn it.
Yeah, whatever that was. Blumhouse, that's what they do. They make dumb, entertaining horror movies. And so I got really nervous because I had blocked out of my head that it was a Blumhouse. And then it's like Universal. I'm like, yeah. And it goes, Blumhouse. I'm like, fuck. But no, it was actually good. Like I said, not on the same level as real art house. This is Blumhouse impression of art house,
right?
To an extent. This isn't Hereditary. This isn't the Babadook, but it is still very good because the idea was just genuinely great. The execution not always perfect, but the idea which you will latch onto is phenomenal, even if it's been done slightly similarly before.
I gotta say, I appreciated the detail with the shadow powers. It's like, having seen a few things do shadow powers, it became kind of obvious some of her limitations.
Sure.
But it was very interesting how quickly they picked up on that.
It
was just immediate. Oh, shut the windows.
And I love how, so like the kid thought of it.
Yeah.
He was like, this is my idea. But then the mom is like, shut the windows. And it's like, I was, and you don't know why I am, but now you do. Yeah, so that's where, like, the weakest part of this is it still does, despite, like, the high concept, like the high level concept, it still has the Blumhouse execution.
Yeah, they kind of lose their minds after that.
You got the dumb dialogue, like you're over explaining stuff through the dialogue, like, close it, she can't do it if we close it. And it's like, all right, cool, thanks for the explanation there. There's, dumb characters doing dumb things. Like I said, it felt like we were wasting time early on, where so the mom tries to leave, so she goes to the car, but the car won't start. Then she goes inside, and then the son's like, why? He's like, don't worry about it, it's fine, just trust me. And then he's like, all right, fine. But then he wants to leave, so then he goes to the car, he tries to turn on the car, but it won't start. So then he comes back inside, and it's like, we're wasting runtime here.
Listen, that's why people just not communicating easy things that could move the story along is one of my biggest pet peeves in movies. No, this wasn't that bad to me. I forgave it pretty quickly.
I forgave it because it was part of the plot.
Yeah.
Because it is an important part of the plot that the mom doesn't explain things to the kids.
It made sense why she tried it, She thought she could turn on the car, get the phone charged a little bit. Maybe they could go with it, but didn't work out. Nothing. Everything there was dead. The power was out. Her phone was dead. His phone was broken. Their nearest neighbor is a few miles away.
This is not black people activity. This is a white family that are trapped in black bodies. Like, why are you on a farmhouse to begin with? and then just everything.
They were tired of the city life, all right?
The dad was.
It was.
She wasn't.
Hey, she was until she got into the country. Then
she was tired of life.
She
period.
changed her mind.
She was depressed, so she just hated everything, no matter where she was.
Listen.
Which was, I loved the subtle use of like depression symptoms throughout the movie.
Right.
Like, ice cream, guys, we're all gonna have ice cream. Or like the bipolar way she would treat the kids, freaking out at them 1 second to then trying to love them too hard the next second. Just like very typical, very classic mental illness signs,
right?
But told in a way that it fit the plot, and I was like, I really enjoy that.
No, it made sense. I understood why she was having these mood swings, these episodes.
Yeah.
It made sense for my theories of her causing this accident and her.
Yeah.
I just did not catch its connection to the woman in black or woman in the lawn.
Yeah. No Daniel Radcliffe.
Yeah.
But I frankly think her reaction to her son calling her a bitch was a little bit less than it should have been. I was like, holy shit.
Oh yeah, no, my mom would have literally socked the shit out of me.
Your mom was the first thought. I was like, this is an underreaction.
Yeah.
All she did was throw the ball out the window. You got off easy.
Hey. I know it was part of her depression and such, but she clutched that knife real quick. she said she considered it. She said, no. It's my son. My mom
I already
would have
killed
just
one man in this family. That's what she should have said. That's I already killed one man in this family. I'll do it again. I ain't afraid.
So it's good we didn't hear her thoughts, because that's the exact thought she had.
But no, going back, because we kind of glossed over it when I was getting to my bigger point, but the imagery there where like the pictures on the wall changed as depression passed by it, that was so
intense.
cool. That was so cool. Because I mean, not that it's like really highbrow or really nobody's ever said it before, but that is depression in a nutshell, and how suicide tendencies feel is that you feel like you are the reason everything else is bad. Yeah. And that's it was just put on display so well. So well.
And I don't think I've seen it quite done like that, with the pictures changing to show the future.
Yeah, that was a unique
The
imagery.
future without you. That was I like that quite a bit. That whole final scene with the suicide was quite intense.
Yes.
And like I was saying,
you believed it would happen.
At first I had no doubt it wouldn't happen. But as that scene built on, started questioning it, and then your theory in the end.
It did.
Yeah.
They just didn't want to show it like that.
I knew they couldn't show it, but or that would have been. Honestly, that would have probably been one of my favorite movie endings of all time. I was
actually sitting there, and I shouldn't do this, but I can't help it. As a filmmaker, I'm always saying, how would I do this instead?
Yeah.
And I was like, I would have just had her shoot herself, cut to black. You just hear the gunshot, see the trigger, gunshot, cut to black, and that's how I would have done it.
Before you see her, she gets up and steps forward, like they start panning around the farm again. I was just waiting. Oh my God, gunshot.
Yeah.
No, it didn't happen. But that would have been crazy.
And so, by the way, to go back to how I know this is the mirror world at the end, was one quick thing that they did to also help signify that, because why else would they do this, was right before they cut back to the happy ending, there's like two really quick cuts, and it starts the dad's monologue again, where he goes, I had a dream. He's Martin Luther King over here. I had a dream. And then it cuts back to that. And I was sitting there going like, one, I thought the movie was just going to end with like him reciting it and maybe a gunshot or like whatever.
Right.
And but then he said, I had a dream, and it cuts and it shows the sign, and then they're there, and I'm like, oh.
Yeah, because did the place have a sign before?
No.
She hadn't thought, she had never once confirmed
also,
the
by
name.
the way, when we're hyping up the name and the name is Iris Haven, that name's dog shit.
Yeah, not good.
Try again.
She hadn't come up with a name the whole time. Oh my God, she really did kill herself. Oh,
or at least tried. maybe she just fucking blew off her cheek. I don't know. That interpretation of the ending adds like a whole star to my feeling of the movie.
That is crazy.
Absolutely. It makes it so much better. Because when you're just like, it felt like it tricks you into thinking, oh, they did the dumbest ending possible. Because that's what it's like trying to make you believe for a second.
It's everything you would expect to happen.
Yeah.
We didn't see a dead dog body, so clearly the dog's alive.
Mm-hmm.
The kids have to come back because, of course, the kids would come back for their mom after they got told to leave.
Yeah.
She's alive because you can't have the mom kill her.
She's the main character.
She's got to raise her kids.
Yeah.
And then the house,
this is in the future. We jumped time, so they finished the house. And they named it. Yay.
See, I didn't catch that they finished the house, but the name took me by surprise. Because, oh, maybe there was a sign the whole time. But no, there wasn't.
No.
Because, she just never, it's very clear she didn't seem to have a name in mind.
No.
Yeah. Damn.
Nah, it's a good movie. It is.
No one's
definitely.
This.
Everybody, I'm forced to watch it, though, because I will tell them. This is one of those movies that immediately I'm like, I have a mental list of all the people I want to watch this with. Which, because I showed the trailer back when the first trailer dropped. Yeah. I sent it to Carmen and Eric, and they were like, "Oh, this looks really intriguing." And then the second trailer came out, and it immediately looked not as good. And I was like, I won't send them that trailer. I'll wait and watch it and let them know. And then as this movie's going, it starts out, I'm like, yep, definitely. I could watch this again. I'll take them again. And then it gets into the rough patch. I'm like, yeah, I ain't watching this again. I'm not even going to tell them to watch it. I'm going to have to break the news. Not worth going to theater. Wait till it's on streaming. And then the ending happened. I'm like, back to my list of people I'm going to watch this with. It was funny, though, because you could tell when the movie was getting good because everybody shut up for a while.
Oh, yeah.
They're like, things are happening. I'll pay attention. And then it was like, I think it was... So first they show the scene where she becomes the other version, which is the first twist where it's like, oh, she is the shadow self now.
Right.
And I was like, I don't know how I feel about this. That's an okay twist, but And then it's like, oh, no, we're not done. And then it did this and did that. And it was like when she was in the attic again, as oh, Annie, come to me, it's me. There's a pause in the dialogue, and the girl behind me goes they're doing too much. And I was like, shut up, it's getting good.
They had 3 different twists there, and she was her then, and maybe she was her all along. And
it wasn't 3 different twists,
dialogue.
though. It was just the same twist being clarified more and more. Because the first twist you could take as some sort of curse cycle where they switched bodies, and now, oh no, she's trapped and she's gonna do this to another family or something. I don't know. And it's nope, that's not the case. And so I think it's just an overwhelming series of events if you're lost. But if you're not lost, then it's oh, this is getting so much better right now.
I will say, when they were swapping, I was a little lost.
I was too. I had to catch up.
I started understanding, oh, it's her and such. But it was just that suicide scene at the end, and starting to really understand it was the depression. Oh my gosh, no, that made all the switching make a lot of sense.
Yeah, and it's definitely confusing at first, but once you get it, then you're like, oh my god, that's good.
I don't know if that really clicked for the rest of the crowd, but
definitely not. They tapped out. They gave up.
Yeah.
I've said it a million times, and I'll keep saying it. The execution wasn't always perfect, but all of the great moments more than make up for any deficiencies in this movie, to me at least.
Yeah, I'm definitely pretty pleased with seeing this movie. Definitely excited by how it wrapped up.
Yeah, you're welcome. You didn't care about this movie. And I was like, it's gonna be good.
No, I did not care about this movie at all.
I actually literally had this on my list to go maybe this will be the one to win over Justin to horror movies. Maybe we'll finally do it.
Well, okay, so my horror movie thing is I was terrified of them as a child.
Yeah.
And now I'm just indifferent towards them. I'll see them.
Most of the time.
Yeah.
Some of them are good, though. You've enjoyed some.
Yeah. But
and this is one of them.
I can never, I don't think there'll ever be one that makes me go, oh, horror movie coming out soon, I have to see it, because maybe it'll be like that other one. I don't know if I'll ever have that, but I'd like to have one like that. Yes.
Yeah. I'll show you Night House one of these days, because I think you'd really enjoy that.
I really never heard of that one. When did that come out?
It came out 3-4 years ago. It was horribly advertised because the ads made it look like, oh, there's this mysterious, she lives in a cabin by a lake by herself because her husband died.
Right.
Sound familiar? and then the ad goes like, oh, there's this house on the opposite side of the lake that is an exact mirror replica of her house. What's that about? And then you watch the movie, and that is one scene that is in a dream sequence. The rest of the movie has nothing to do with this mirror house. And I'm like, why did we base the advertising around this moment?
Yeah, I guess I saw it.
But so a lot of people were very disappointed in it for, one, the same reasons people were disappointed in this, and also because the advertising was way off base. So I don't think the people that love artsy horror movies went and saw it because the trailer made it not look like it was going to be that. It made it look dumb. I just saw it because I review movies, and I went, holy shit, this was good. But all the people that would have liked it didn't see it, and all the people that wouldn't like it did. So didn't get a great rating. Anyway, also Antlers is good. That's a very underrated movie too. Maybe we'll watch
Another
that at
one
some
I
point.
haven't heard.
Yeah. It's got Jesse Plemons in it,
Okay.
and some other people that I forget.
There we go.
All right, well, we're not in a rush to go back in, but I'm hungry.
That's fair.
So we're going to go back in, and we're going to get some food, and then we're going to watch a movie that probably will not be as good as this one.
I know nothing about it.
It's AA24, which is why I'm excited, or was excited for it, but it's got like a 5 point something on IMDb. So we'll see. Thanks for watching, guys. Let us know in the comments below what you guys thought of the movie if you've seen it. Or also, if you're on Spotify or Apple Podcasts or whatever, please leave us a rating. It does help a lot. Thanks, guys. Bye.
Bye.
I was staring at the light again.